Welcome to the 18th Century Chair Shop here at the Del Mar Fair. Today we're entering the final day of the fair, and I've got some apprentices working on the front benches. We're going to take a look at what they're doing to shape these parts for these chairs. Doug here is removing mill marks from some of the rectilinear parts that we have. Right now he's working on a front apron. And he's removing all of the mill marks with a card scraper. Then he will, after he has all of those nice and smooth, he'll break the edges with his spoke shave so that little fingers don't get cut on sharp wooden edges. Over here, Doug is saddling a seat. We say that's saddling because it resembles, when he's finished, it will resemble the contours of a saddle. And he's using a tool called an end shave to contour this to fit a little buttocks. He also has a travisher over here. Doug's showing the travisher. This tool works more like a hand plane in that it's got a sole as well as a blade, and he can get a fairer curve with that than he can with the end shave. So he's got quite a bit of work ahead of him to get that seat, but when he's finished, he'll have something like this. I should have shown him, given him this model to work from. He's also got templates where he'll check the contours as he's cutting with this template here, showing the profile that we want in there, as well as this profile that we want right down the middle. So he's got lots of tools here to help him get a seat that looks like this one. When he's done, he'll round over the edges with a spoke shave. What did you do inside your house? Michael here is right now using a card scraper, and he's basically removing mill marks from this apron. This is a side apron that he's working on. Earlier today, Michael cut some mortises in the rear legs. You can see these nice mortises he's got up here. A nice job, Michael.
Thank you, sir.
And he's also kind of rounded over the front edge of this rear leg. What he hadn't done yet is taper the inside faces of the front legs. You can see I've got these marked where basically he will take a draw knife and taper this in this plane, rotate it, taper it in that plane. When he has two of them done, then he'll put them together and take a hand plane and plane those inclined surfaces together so that they're both even with each other. Now when the apprentices have all of these parts shaped, then the first thing we do is we glue up the right and left side assemblies. And we get basically assemblies that look like this. I've got these, basically I need to turn them around as though I was sitting in a chair. That way I know this is the right side assembly from the sitter's viewpoint and the left side assembly. You can see basically they're ready to accept parts that will glue them together. And we have basically holes in them for dowels and the mortise for the crest rail. We also on day one will take the other parts that the apprentices have shaped, and we'll put dowels in those that are going to receive dowels. Those dowels then, you can see, will be used basically to put the rear apron like this, the front apron in like this, the crest rail in up here, and the front and rear stretcher here and here. So when that's all glued up, we'll have an assembly similar to these. This is actually a completed chair, but before we got to that, we would have the left side and the right side glued up together. Let that glue cure for 24 hours before we glue in these glue blocks. These glue blocks are what we're going to screw the seat on. we need to glue those glue blocks in and let that glue cure 24 hours before we screw the seat in. So actually, what we've got a 4-day cycle to build one of these little chairs. The total time put in it, though, probably would not exceed maybe 3 or 4 hours. But in flow time, it takes basically 4 hours to do it, or 4 days to do it, for the glue to cure in between those different stages. The glue we use is animal hide glue. I basically have turned this off so it's cold, but we heat it up to 150 degrees, and then it forms a fairly liquid state. When it cools to room temperature, it becomes kind of a gummy gel, and that's what allows me to put the glue blocks in, just with what we call a rub joint. I'll just basically put glue on those glue blocks and hold them in place about 15 or 20 seconds, and that gel will, at that point, hold those glue blocks in place while I put nails in there to hold them in place overnight. We've got, as you can see here, we've got what we call our chair rail, with chairs hanging on it, and we have, I think it was 41 chairs hanging. No, it was 39 chairs hanging. And then the rest that we've done is down here on the floor. This year we've completed 51 chairs, and I have 5 sets of parts ready to be glued up next year on the first day of the fair. So that's basically kind of my way of sandbagging a little bit, so that the first day of the fair I can start really putting the chair together, gluing the left side and the right side together. And that's what those parts are over there. Yeah, we do 4 chairs every year with cane seats. We have basically one of our members does this caning. He's finished his 4 seats this year, so he's not here today, but the public really enjoys watching Warren weave these cane seats. When he's done, we will basically build a chair that will look like this. Bob Stevenson did this one, but we'll try to replicate Bob's work after the fair's shut down. We'll basically be gluing that chair at home and putting a cane seat on it. It doesn't use glue blocks. The seat actually is attached with basically pocket hole technology. You can see the pocket hole screws holding the seat to the front and rear apron. Basically 3 purposes for this shop. One obviously is to make these chairs, and we give them to children's charities every year. We have a target of 50 chairs. We generally exceed that by a chair or 2. So we build basically at least 50 chairs a year, and we've been doing this since 1987. The second thing we're doing, you can see basically Doug is talking to these people here. We're informing the public, entertaining them at the same time, and giving them information about our association, about the charity work we're doing, and woodworking in general. The third thing we're trying to do is give our members opportunities to use tools that they may not use at home, like the end-shave or Travisher that you saw. Typically, they won't have that experience in their own shop, so we provide an opportunity for them to learn something new. And a lot of them going away wanting to build a chair. This may be their first experience with building a chair.
process of making the parts pretty much
Enjoying the fair? Yep. Let me know.
And you can also go to Trinity Mason and get one from it's a nationwide woodworkers chain. They have a full online. They also have it's in Trinity Mason.
This may be subtle. See the wobble? Can you see that? I'm going to correct that. A little bit. No wobble. that's it. The only thing is I didn't use any glue. Let me talk about the wobble. When I started out, this chair was wobbling a little bit. And what I did to correct that is I angled these clamps so that you can see this angle here is going to try to pull that leg down a little bit. Most people, when they learn this, they tend to hunt for it and they overcompensate. So they'll put too much on it and then have to take it out. So I didn't change this. I just did that with 2 clamps. I pulled this leg down just ever so slightly, probably less than a 1/16 of an inch. If it had been more, I could then angle these clamps in the opposite way, and that would really take quite a warp out of it. I corrected chairs that started out with a wobble almost 1/4 of an inch. And by gluing it up with angling the clamps like that, you can basically correct that. The disadvantage is sometimes your joinery is not as good. So you can overdo it where you'll pull these out a square in order to get that out of there.